There's a people that don't know what the ecological approach to jiu-jitsu is, and I found a definition on Google, so I just wanted to read it so everybody's on the same page and everybody can facepalm at the same time. So, the ecological approach in jiu-jitsu refers to training philosophy that prioritizes dynamic interaction, situational learning, and adaptive problem solving through the use of constraint-led games and activities rather than static drills to develop that are more adaptable to real-life combat situations, emphasizing the interaction between the individual, the task, and the training environment, often associated with Coach Greg Souders. That definition paints it like it is this amazing training ideal, and it really puts it puts it in a light that it's like, wow. But I can tell that Greg wrote that.
Like, we've seen this before,
right?
Kenny. We've seen this with 10th Planet and trying to reinvent jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, 10th Planet does something kind of similar, but they all 10th Planet also has regular instruction.
I'm saying like renaming the moves.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just like getting away from the gi, like trying to make something completely different out of the sport, trying to evolve in the sport. And then, let's be honest, they pulled it off. I don't know if this is going to stick though. You're saying what the guy was saying is, let them figure it out. Basically, let your students figure it out. Like, don't show them nothing. And to me, I'm like, well, that's this lazy professor.
That's no professor. That would be like just you and the boys that don't know anything about jiu-jitsu being like, hey, we're going to figure this grappling shit out. Let's go in the garage and lay some mats down and just start rolling until we start to figure things out.
Right. If you put two white belts and just let them roll, they're just going to hurt each other. It's like throwing your kid when he's 2 years old into the pool. Swim, dude. You'll figure it out.
Right.
That's basically what they're trying to do. And I think that's dumb. I guess if you got to like a purple belt or a brown belt era that level rather, that might work, right? You could probably evolve and learn stuff, but you got to have a basic foundation. You got to know how to tie your shoes before you can wear them. To me, I wonder if it's kind of like a money grab from him. He comes from Lloyd Irvin, the Lloyd Irvin black belt. And I think Lloyd Irvin is legit, of course. Lloyd Irvin was also back in the day really into like selling stuff, selling instructionals and all this kind of stuff. And it seems like this guy's like taking that path. Like, what if he's going to try to monetize this into like making money? I don't know what his deal is, but I just don't think his work. And he was saying that like instruction is wrong, and he's a black belt. I'm like, so you're telling me that this is not how you became a black belt, though?
Right.
I would say this. I'm assuming he drilled and drilled and drilled, and he even said that in the debate. He's like, yeah, and I thought it was a waste of time, and I was like, how is that a waste of time? How is drilling when you from the legends that have all drilled, the Galvals, the Hodgers, the Busheshas, the Mikey Musumechis, the Gordon Ryans, all the drilling that's been done by the greats currently and before us, you're going to say that drilling doesn't work?
Right.
He said in the podcast, end quote, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan did not get better at basketball because they were the first one at practice and the last one to leave, and they got extra reps in. That's not why they were better.
I feel like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant would disagree with that.
I 100% feel. Why the fuck was Kobe waking up at 3 a.m.
Right.
to go practice when practice was at 8?
Right. And then why would he there's stories of Kobe saying like, the boys are like, oh, let's go out tonight, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, I'll go with you. But if I go with you, you come to practice with me tomorrow. Same, I'll go with you tonight, but tomorrow when I call you, you get up. And he's like, he would go to the bar, he'd go to the club, he wouldn't drink, he wouldn't party, he'd chill, be there. Midnight, he's out. He's like, I'll see you at practice tomorrow. If you guys want to stay out late, that's on you. Fucking 4:30 in the morning, he's knocking at the door. Let's go. It's practice time.
Yeah, there's just so much wrong with what's the guy's name? Greg said.
Yeah.
He was talking to Big Dan, but he said, when you get someone's back and you cross your feet behind their back, that is wrong because you can get your foot fucked, ankle lock, right? He's like, not necessarily. That's not wrong. He's like, that's just your opinion. I'm like, if one of my guys has a grip that I think is bad grip, like doesn't get an underhook when he's trying to pass half. No, that's just the way he's trying to figure out his style. That's the most hippie dumb shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. If you have a student and you see him doing the wrong technique, you best correct them as a professor because you want to build the best athletes you can build. I just don't. I was dumbfounded. Like, cross your feet on the back. What are we talking about?
Right.
And there's a lot of guys in the comments in that post I did earlier this week that were defending this crap. And I was like, I love situational sparring. I think you do get good from situational sparring.
Right.
But not like,
well,
you have to drill.
There's three, because it doesn't even sound like he's doing necessarily situational sparring either. It just sounds like he's kind of, I mean, I guess that's what they mean by games, but I think that one, if you, the professor teaches you the technique, right? Then as the student, you drill the technique with your partner. You take turns going back and forth. Now, your partner can do, different degrees of defense. Like maybe the first few times you drill it, I don't defend it at all. I let you sink the rear naked in, really get to, the feel of what it feels like to have it in and whatnot. Then maybe the next set of drilling, I give you a little bit of tension. I do a little bit of hand fighting. I make it a little more difficult for you. Not full speed, not full strength, not full technique, but just so you can see what some resistance feels like. And then we drill it a third time after that. And then now all of a sudden I'm giving you a more realistic, defense to that choke and whatnot, and make you really fight for it. Cause you're not just going to get the rear naked if you get someone's back. We all know that. So, now you're having to really find the bottom of the chin, maybe pull the head back, things like that to really sink that arm in for the choke. So now you have a good basis of what it's going to be like, kind of in real world. And then that's where your situational sparring comes in, where it's like, okay, you've got the back, you got to fight it full pace. Let's go. But you without that basis that led up to it, you're going to be treading water at best. You know what I mean? Essentially what's going to happen is you're not going to hardly ever find that choke. You're going to, fail a lot, and you're not really going to grow because you never knew what it felt like to get it in the first place. And even if you did snag it without the drilling portion of it, you might not know that it's necessarily right or not because you never knew you never felt beforehand what it was like to fully sink that in, and get a good perch.
Imagine never learning foot lock or heel hook defense. And you just tell your guys, yeah, you rolled the wrong way, bro, but let him roll the wrong way. Let him roll the wrong way. Because this is his journey and he's going to figure it out.
Yeah.
What? Then all of a sudden the guy's out for 8 years.
Yeah.
8 months.
Yeah. All of his fucking students, day one. Yeah. Johnny just heel hooked everybody in class.
I
think it's dangerous. I think it's lazy, as you mentioned before. It sounds like
the guy literally look like he looks like Pat McAfee, the guy. And he literally would not give an answer. He would just be like, "Well, you're not right. You're wrong on that because why?" He's like, "Well, can you tell?" They'd be like, Tom would be like, "Can you tell us why?" And he's like, I need to know this first. Why? And he'd ask some other question that makes no sense. I'm like, this guy was asking a question with a question. He was just Uno reverse carding Tom every time and not giving a damn answer. It was a waste of time. He obviously not taking it away. He probably is legit. He's a black belt, whatever, under a good banner. Lloyd Irvin was a good coach back in the day. But I just it was just, I'm like, dude, it's not effective. You have to drill. You have to teach techniques to, especially your lower belts, to get them ready to. We have some of our followers. I think is Doomy. He does it and he says it's better. I mean, I guess, man, whatever way you want to grow is fine.
Right.
But I'm just going off the staples of the legends before us, that have actually, done it and made it to the top.
Right.
And my professors before me who've done it and made it to the top. This is the way that they do it. Why are we reinventing the wheel when jiu-jitsu has proven that it works this way? I don't understand. Why we want it faster. Well, why are we trying to make it karate?
Right.
Why are we trying to be able to get black belts faster?
So
you're telling me you're a black belt and there's nothing you don't know you know everything already. There's
Right.
nothing you can't learn with drilling or a technique.
I'll say a few things. Before I get into some compliments, I will say maybe this is the only way I could see this ecological approach making any sense. Maybe if you're already dealing with a room full of competitive black belts, they already have a solid foundation established. They already have a good knowledge of the lexicon of moves that exist. And you're trying to develop some sort of a new system with this room of black belts. Maybe an ecological approach makes sense because you're already dealing with experienced people that know not to make the silly day one white belt mistakes. And now you're just trying to essentially skip through the base layer of learning a technique and really like develop a new system. Maybe if you're developing something and not trying to teach, the meat and potatoes fundamentals of jiu-jitsu, it might make sense if you've got an experienced classroom. But trying to take the ecological approach to a class full of white belts and a new school, you're going to end up with way more injuries. It's like the polar opposite of, the Gracie gyms that won't allow a white belt to roll for like 2 to 3 months at all. They're just constantly drilling technique until they have an understanding of like, the basis of jiu-jitsu and weight distribution and all that stuff. Or maybe they only let them drill with other white belts. This is like the polar opposite of that. It's just like, let's just throw everybody in the mix and let them get after it. And it's just, between a mixture of egos, between a mixture of lack of knowledge, you're going to end up with a lot of hurt people and not a lot of progress in regards to technique.
And on that note, teaching it to your higher belts, that's not an ecological approach to jiu-jitsu. That's called comp class. Okay? That's called comp class, which is pretty much open mat where all your fucking dogs go after it and they fucking put it on the line and they go to war every day. And it's one of the oldest slogans ever made, and you're just trying to change the name of it. It's called iron sharpens iron in a fucking dog fight. That's all it is. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, dude. It's called comp class.
So, as we dive off of this topic, I just wanted to say a couple of shout outs. One, I think you can't have that debate without Tom DeBlas. I know Tom DeBlas doesn't always agree with everything we talk about here on the pod, and we might not necessarily agree with everything that Tom DeBlas talks about, but I think you need a Tom DeBlas personality, a Tom DeBlas accomplishment level. You know what I mean? There's no denying the greatness that is Tom DeBlas, as far as his jiu-jitsu career is concerned. You can't argue with, a guy who is arguably one of the best in the world at a point in time that, the way that he teaches is wrong. He's taught multiple world champions. He's, this is where Gordon Ryan and Gary Tonin, that's part of their lineage. They went to Danaher after Tom DeBlas. You know what I mean? So this guy's developed amazing jiu-jitsu practitioners. And
that's where this guy came. The clip that he made was viral, and I get viral clips. If you make a clip with a catchy tune that might make Tom DeBlas mad, done it. I've done it. I get it. It's called clickbait, right? Yeah. We do it. I'm pretty good at it. The guy came out and said, "Don't spend your money on that Danaher DVD. All you need is this ecological jiu-jitsu or something like that."
Right.
And that's what set this off. But yeah, I mean, but also shout out to Tom, because that means he's on the internet and he's not running his own. He's running his own social media.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He's interacting with people. He's talking, he's commenting. I've talked to him via DM. You know what I mean? Like, voice memo. I've talked to him back and forth a couple of times. I know some guys in the space that don't run their own shit.
Right.
And the other day, we got shared by somebody else. I can't even remember his name, but they're like, "That's BJJ Balance. That's BJJ Balance. Give them their credit. And he's like, "Will do right now. DMing you right now." And he DM'd me like, "Hey, I'm glad you like my move. Would you like this instructional?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? No, I don't. But I mean, shout out to the people who run their own shit. And yeah, it's called Iron Sharpens Iron.
Right.
And there's time for comp class training and there's time for fundamentals and learning stuff. And if you say you're a black belt, that's too good to learn something. That's stupid, because I know Gordon Ryan is still a student of the game. And I know Bushesh is still a student of the game. And so is Hodger. All these guys are still learning something. You can learn something from somebody whose skill level is way less than you.
Right.